Hello and welcome to another BuildASoil YouTube episode. Today I'm really excited to share with you that we have seeds that have popped. And so it's only been a couple of days since I recorded the first episode, but I set up this season with the intention of making sure that I at least do the autoflowers right this time. And so I'm here on a Sunday, and essentially this episode's gonna be really short, but realistically what needs to happen today is I have to transplant what seeds have popped, and I have to choose some because we've got 4 out of 5 so far. And I'm confident that 5th one will pop regardless. I'll update you. But I do not want these autoflowers to get stunted. So I'm gonna show you the tray. I'm going to show you the autoflower soil that we made, discuss that for a second. We've also got another empty container, and I've got 2 bags of BuildASoil Light. And so we're gonna run the other one in BuildASoil Light. We're gonna compare that to the Autoflower recipe that I'm working on with Daz, and really we're gonna make the Daz nutrient kit, and the soil I'm undecided on exactly how it's gonna land, but I trust Daz and I wanna make sure that it's good enough for you guys and actually solve some problems. If it doesn't solve any problems for autoflower growers, then we're not gonna release it. But right now, I have some ideas about how to lower the chance of stunting, how to widen the range of autoflowers that'll perform successfully in the soil, because although some people report, hey, 3.0 works great, other people say it's too strong. And I think we can make something that is duplicatably low in nutrient, that will not give you any burn, that will allow the autoflowers to really rip, and then a fast release, organic, micronized nutrient pack that'll allow you to top dress and get some really instant results. Because with autoflowers, sometimes they're way bigger than you expect. And so my goal is to play with that idea. So we're gonna see how this autoflower soil does, if it does any better. We might have to make some tweaks, who knows, versus the standard BuildASoil Light recipe, which I love running. And so I wanna be able to compare it to something I'm used to. And then as far as the environment goes, I promised to do the entire episode on the environment, but today's Sunday. I have a few minutes to record. I didn't wanna miss over this important step, so let me show you the seeds. We're gonna leave the environment as it is, and I'll explain how you can kind of hack the system when you know the rules, and we'll get to the environment soon. So I've not opened the dome yet, not even one time. I've not re-moistened these. These are the cocoa coins. I'm not sure if you can see in here because there's stickers on there, so I'm gonna remove the lid in just a moment. But I wanted to discuss the fact that with the cocoa coin, I hydrated them by soaking them in just filtered water, okay? Then I put the seed in as I showed you by breaking it up so that the hole for the clone for rooting the cuttings was gone, and now I can put the seed right in the top. And then I put the dome on and I sealed the lid, and I've not touched it since. And I was joking on Instagram, like, are they popped yet? Every minute. But realistically, when I direct sow, no pre-soak or anything like that, I expect that on the 3rd day, we'll see the first seeds, and then I'll see some on the 4th and 5th day. And so we're not to the 5th day yet, and we've got 4 out of 5 seeds. I fully expect this center one that hasn't popped yet to pop by tomorrow, and I will update you on that. But right now, because they're autoflowers, I don't want their taproot to hit outside of these little pucks and get stunted. I'm gonna directly transplant the cocoa coin and show you what that looks like. And then because I'm on a tripod by myself today on a Sunday, just checking on the pigs, checking on the seeds, I'm gonna go behind the camera and show you what it looks like after I transplant. But right now I'm gonna open this for the first time and show you what the seeds look like. So hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna raise it up so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 have their seed hole already dropped. 1 does not, but that's okay. It looks like it's opening and it's gonna be perfect. And so those are the seeds. Daz, thank you for these seeds. Again, if you're just now following along, Daz Night Owl, Autoflower Seeds, we're doing the autoflowers first, and then I'm gonna be planting and you can grow along with us. I'm gonna do the Strawberry Deluxe from Dominion Seed Company. I'm really excited about that. I've got a few other things that I'm gonna be solidifying, and we'll update you on exactly what the 10x10 series is gonna look like. But a lot of new stuff. And so we wanna make sure that we do just a simple run as we lead up to that, because autoflowers are great to fit in between runs, outdoors before normal season. They're kind of a tool to get extra. And I've got the Strawberry Cheesequake tester from Night Owl Seeds. And so I will grab the camera and I'll show it closer, but for now I just wanted to show you that 4 out of 5 have popped. I'm gonna set these back here. Normally what I'd like to do is get the environment completely dialed, but the seedlings are pretty resilient, and I'm gonna keep the light really low. So normally, when we get in the environment, we're gonna discuss the importance of VPD and DLI, and the VPD is basically humidity and temperature. And so we have to have the humidity in a place that's really good for the plants, that makes it easy for them to grow quickly, because that will not slow them down from their potential at all, if that makes sense. Right now, I'm not gonna add any humidity in here and it's not gonna have very much, but what I'm gonna do to offset that is lower the light. So I'm not demanding a lot out of these plants for the next 24 hours. I'm gonna let them acclimate. And while you can crank the light up, we'll talk about the ideal lighting for seedlings and teenagers and flowering plants and all of that in the environment episode and how to measure that. When it comes to these seedlings, by keeping it gentle for a day while they transplant, it buys me time until tomorrow where I can really dedicate myself to doing the environmental episode properly. Then I can actually add the humidity because I don't want to do it before we talk about it. So in any case, I will discuss the exhaust, but I'm going to leave it off. That's my other trick. Low light, no exhaust. I'm going to open this up and the soil that I put in here, I'm going to moisten, which means that there's going to be some moisture in the tent. There's going to be no airflow out and the light's going to be low. That's going to be a really nice environment for those seedlings, even if it's not perfect. And then tomorrow, when I record the episode about the environment, we'll discuss all of that. I may even do a whiteboard part where I write some things down so that you can take some notes. But for those of you that know about the environment, I'm not really skipping a step. I'm just bending the rules so that I can buy myself time. And that's important when you understand the fundamentals as opposed to just knowing what someone told you. When you know the fundamentals, you can kind of move the rules to associate or to work within your time constraints if that's what you need to do. While not ideal, it's gonna work great. So that's full blast. I'm gonna keep it all the way dimmed down. I'm gonna have the AC Infinity oscillating fan going, no exhaust. And then once I moisten this and close it up, it should have enough humidity for those seedlings as they transition. And I'll talk about that tomorrow. So let's get it going. I've just gotta fill this bag. Right now, I'm not really setting up the AUTOPOT, so I will discuss that. Here's the rule. With the AUTOPOT, you wanna plant into it, but you don't want to turn on the water for maybe a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. So really the veg period, I'm not gonna be bottom watering because it's a big bag of soil. I want the roots to get to the bottom to be able to drink the water before I turn the water on, or it could kind of stagnate down there and turn anaerobic, and we don't want that. So that allows me more time. That means I don't need to really set it up. Normally I'd put the copper blocker on, I would hook up the reservoir, move the reservoir out. I've got the resi in there just as a table right now for the seeds. I'm not gonna do anything today. I'm just gonna fill the bag up, put the seeds in. That way we don't stunt them. And then tomorrow we'll tend to the rest. So let me get that done real quick. And I'm just gonna put this over the top, my BuildASoil light, flip it. There we go. Perfect. So there's one bag. And now that I've got one bag in there, doing the flip trick, it'll support itself and stay open pretty easily. Right. Now this is just a couple of bags off the pallet from our retail store. So I just use the same thing as everybody else. Okay, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Get this to settle so I don't spill. Just lift it by the handles and kind of drop it, and it disperses the soil where it may have bridged. Okay, 2 cubic feet. Now I'm just setting it in the tray. That way it's in the right spot. And then I'll label these. But right now the one on the right is the Autoflower soil and the one on the left is BuildASoil Light. And there's a significant difference in the amount of pumice. So it's very easy to tell the difference between the two. The Autoflower soil has a lot more drainage so that we don't overwater at all. No chance of stunting. Makes it kind of heavier but also lighter to work with. It may not be the final texture, but so far I'm really liking what it looks like. And I uploaded it to Instagram. I'll show you with the camera when I'm done. Hopefully it persists because I'm gonna move that soil around, but there is some bloom from the Kashi bloom that we added. And the Kashi bloom is, if you don't know what it is, it's bokashi. And then AJ from Growing Organic, he actually makes the bokashi by adding secondary ingredients to it. So after the fermentation, some during it. And this creates a product that instead of just being for composting, it actually lends itself to providing nutrients for the soil. And one of the goals of the Autoflower soil was not to have a lot of nutrients, but to get what was in the soil in flow right away and leverage enzymes and leverage biology as much as possible, as well as micronization, to make sure that we have a little bit more steering control on the Autoflower soil in case we need it. So I'll show you the bloom, I guess, is all I'm getting at. It grows this white mycelium is what a lot of us call it. And it's like a bacteria that grows and it looks like Santa's beard. And it looks really cool. And a lot of people like to see it because it's a sign that that life is occurring. So anyways, let me set this stuff down. I want to grab I don't have my Chapin, so I'm gonna run and grab that real quick, and that way I can properly water this, and I'll be right back. All right, so now I've got my Chapin sprayer, and let me show you what I'm gonna add in there just for the first watering on the transplants. All right, so I've got 3 things here. You don't have to add any of these. They'll be fine without it. But one of the things I like to do is I'm going to use a product. I want to get the most out of it. And so the Rootwise Microbe Complete that you see right here, this is a biology product. And in my opinion, it's the best on the market. It's been our flagship since we started BuildASoil, basically. We started a relationship around that time. Kevin, the owner of Rootwise. It's another small family business, but all of the microbes are made in the United States from one of the leading labs. And basically what they have is indigenous microorganisms from healthy farms. And on top of that, there's mycorrhizae in here. And if we're gonna get any benefit on a really fast growing plant from the fungus that associates with the roots, giving it more nutrients, better water, there's a lot of things, right? You can look that up. But if we're gonna get benefit from it, I think it's best to get it on there the moment you can on the fresh root of the plant so that you have as much time for this to colonize as possible, leading to those benefits. So I'm gonna do it in the initial watering. I've got like 1.5 gallons in here. Normally I do a tablespoon on my first watering so that I can get all of the soil kind of inoculated and get a good starter dose for those roots. But I've only got like 1.5 gallons in here, so I'm gonna do, I don't know, 2 teaspoons or so, and just put it in there. And then before I do that, I'm gonna add the enzymes. And these enzymes are what this biology would produce given enough time. And so this is like the lighter fluid. It just speeds up the process. And since I want this to happen fast, they're autoflowers, I'm gonna use both. And then as far as just evenly moistening that soil, you can use a wetting agent. We have soap nuts. We also have the Yucca Thermex 70. There's Thermex 15 was the powder. I prefer the liquid. We've also got the Cuyaha Extract 60, which has been one of our most popular products. And so I'm gonna use just a little bit of the Cuyaha Extract 60 today, which is a 60% saponin. I'm gonna put like, I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/8 teaspoon in here. And I'll just do that right now. And then we're gonna water this, then transplant. So all the instructions are on the back. This is 3 to 5 milliliters per gallon. So I'm gonna go with 10 milliliters just to get a starter dose in here in this 1.5 gallons that I've got. There we go. Normally I don't really measure, but I wanna make sure I'm doing my best to educate and follow like what I talk about. So there's the couple teaspoons I mentioned. Just a tiny bit of the Q. Works really well, get nice and foamy in there. Now you don't have to use one of these sprayers. You just put it in your water can or whatever, but on seedlings it's nice to have something that's easy to be gentle, and a wand makes a big difference. So anything with a wand. Watch out for your toes when you have your Chapin. I took my rubber seal off to give it to a friend, but we carry a rubber seal you can put on the bottom. It helps make it softer on the floors and avoids the injury if you were to drop it on your toes. I don't have it quite full, so take a little more pumping to get started. Let's go. So I was gonna show you that little bloom of the kashi on top of the soil, but I'm gonna water it right now. It's gonna go away as soon as I do that. So we'll show you another time when I've got a cameraman here that can kind of zoom in. Otherwise, if I move the tripod, it's gonna mess everything up for me. So looks like I've added a lot, but really I barely watered in there. And the seedling's not gonna need much water, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Go over here and hit it up so it's got some fresh Rootwise in there. Now this one, the Autoflower one, I'd recently watered when I put it in that bag, so I think it's pretty good. That's enough Rootwise, and I will hit it just with a little more as soon as I transplant. I'll explain why. When I'm growing photo periods, a lot of times I won't always choose the fastest to pop if I just have to choose random seeds. And even then, I'm not gonna choose right away. I'm gonna sex them first, and I'll see some characteristics. But when choosing autoflower seeds, I'm gonna try and keep the rest around. I might grow them in small containers in the other tent. I haven't really decided yet, but I'll document it if I do. I've got to choose with almost no information other than these popped first, these popped second. And in nature, sometimes the one that pops first, maybe it had a little bit thinner seed hole, right? And so maybe the other ones had a thicker one. Maybe it's a better seed. Maybe not. Sometimes the fastest one is the best. And so nature doesn't put all its eggs in one basket. The seeds won't typically pop all on the same day unless you pre-soak or things like that. And the main reason is that in nature, if all the seeds pop on the same day and then the weather takes a turn for the worse, then all the seeds die on the same day. And so nature likes to diversify a little bit, not put all its eggs in one basket. And that's why you're gonna see different germination times across the board, especially with cannabis and hemp seeds. So, all right, well, let's get these transplanted. I've got to get going for the day, and I promise to document every step of the way. We'll do better as we discuss the environment and really get into the nitty gritty. But today I wanted to at least show you, hey, BuildASoil Light, the new Autoflower soil that's not available, won't be for a long time until we get it right, and the seeds. So let me transplant. Let's see which ones. So I could pick the second round, but one of them hasn't dropped their seed hole yet. I think I'm gonna pick the first two because they're similar in height, and they're both obviously really vigorous. So that's what I'm gonna do. You can see that there's no root through here yet, so I got it before. There's barely, which is perfect. I'm getting it before it's gonna feel like it's root bound at all. So transplanting today was perfect, right after they germinated. All I'm gonna do is dig a hole this size. And if you didn't watch the first episode, these are coconut core from Char-Core. They're called the Coco Coin. And while I really like direct sowing right into BuildASoil Light or the soil that you might have, the last thing I wanna do is tell a brand new grower to do something where the life of the soil might eat their seed. And they might have invested a lot into those seeds, where these are sterilized, a lot more foolproof, and then you can transplant right away and the roots grow right through these things, no problem. So I'm gonna do that right now. First one down. I'll show you with the camera when we're done. This soil is just a little bit wet on top from me freshly watering it, so I'm mixing some of the drier soil from below into it real quick. Make sure I didn't just overdo it right in this zone. Awesome. There's the next one. Okay, that's it. Now depth-wise, I buried it just to the top of that puck and put a little soil over the top. So it's not really sticking out, but I didn't bury the stalk in there. I don't want to suffocate that seedling. While it's kind of hard to do, it can happen, lead to damping off or something like that. So I don't want to put it right up on the stalk. But that's what I've done. They're transplanted. And now my goal, like I said, is to keep it gentle on them. So I'm going to put the dome back on the other three so we can make sure the other one germinates. And then I'll transplant those probably tomorrow. And then these two, I'm just gonna close up the tent, keep the light low, keep the airflow moving, but no exhaust. So the moisture that I just added in there will kind of stay in the tent and it'll keep the humidity near those seedlings good enough until tomorrow when we go over the environment and we talk about how important all of this is and why. So let me grab the camera and show you. Okay, I'm behind the camera. Let me show you what this looks like, you guys. So those are the seedlings. Okay, you can kind of see them. There's the transplant. So this autoflower mix, you can see all the pumice, a lot more pumice in there. And then here's the BuildASoil Light. That's it. The reservoirs are not on. I'm gonna put the dome back on here. The light is on the lowest setting. All right, well, thanks for watching another episode of the BuildASoil YouTube. This has been episode 2. My hands are dirty. We just transplanted the Daz Night Owl Autoflower seedlings, and I'm really excited about this one because this is all we have going on. I'll be able to dedicate a lot more time to documenting this autoflower run. I'm gonna make sure that we trellis it, that we talk about the environment, the power, the light, every detail. So if you're a new grower and you've got a 4x4 tent, a 3x3 tent, whatever size tent you have, you can kind of follow along with everything that we do. We're running the Autoflower XXLs, and while you don't have to go that big, I think it's gonna make it super easy on me, and I really liked it last time, and we'll talk about that more later. Otherwise, thanks again for watching. Subscribe, like, tell your friends, and until next time, I'll see you on the next BuildASoil episode.